Before we start, here's an example of a real life ribbon weave. Now in our drawing we're going to start with our horizontal lines. Remember, a ribbon has two sides, so 2 lines for each ribbon. They do not have to be 100% straight. However, for a weave you want them as close to straight as possible. So I'm making mine a little sloppy. Now here's a little example very quickly of how they're going to overlap each other. So 2 lines at a time. Now I'm going to continue this vertical weave. My first set of ribbon was under and then over, so my next one alternates. It should be over and then under. So that means I overlap the ribbon on top. Second ribbon will overlap my vertical, and so on. So over a row, under a row, over a row, under a row. I started under, now I go over, under, over, under. It's very helpful if you erase as you go. That way you don't get too confused. It's also really helpful when you jump the lines. Just remember, you're doing this in pairs. So notice I'm only working 1 vertical ribbon at a time. And again, I like to erase as I go. So I'm being very careful to only erase where I have the overlap. The vertical should be over, so therefore I am erasing the horizontal lines that are currently inside of the vertical ribbon. Alright, now let's get this finished up real quick. Pause here and complete your weaving before we add color. Alright, get your color ready. Could be any color. And we're just going to jump right in. Now, because this one is over top, I will have the highlight in the center of whichever part of the weave, and then it's darkest where it's being overlapped. Okay, there's something covering it up, casting a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to see that more right here on the second row. So as I get closer to my next ribbon, I will get lighter. They are lightest where they stick out the most, which is usually where you have something underneath helping push it forward. Now to start with, I do like to have the center stripe, my highlight, pure white. So I do blend my colored pencil out until it's completely white in that center stripe. And then as usual in the darker areas, I have at least 2 layers of colored pencil. So you'll notice I had vertical coloring first and then I went over with horizontal. So I like to blend it out one direction so I get right up to where it's being overlapped, and then I go over the other direction. So I get at least 2 layers. Now, color in all of your horizontal ribbons first, so we're not getting too confused. We're going to go all one direction. Keep your lines nice and clean. It's okay if you get out of the line a little bit, but we want to minimize that as much as possible. This technique does take time. Make sure that you're taking breaks to stretch your hands and fingers. And keeping your pencil sharp. I had a hard time with this pencil. It was breaking a lot. You might find that sometimes with colored pencils that have been dropped too much. Complete your horizontal ribbons first. Now it's time for the vertical ribbons. Now because of the way I color, I did turn my page so it's easier for me to actually color it in. So just as before, where it's overlapping, I'm going to color it in really, really heavy. And where it is overlapping the opposite direction, I should have a highlight. So where it's being overlapped, something is on top of it, it's darkest, and where it is the one overlapping, it is the lightest. As you get close to the edge of the paper, make sure you're just coloring in the same direction as that edge. So right now that edge is vertical, I should be coloring vertically. It gets really, really tricky right there. So now you can see this up close. I go from dark to light in the middle, lightening the pressure on my hand as I go. And same thing on the other side. All right, let's speed this up. Okay, now on the center squares, you're using brown or black to fill it in really, really dark. We want it to be kind of in shadow for this. Now, to get some extra depth of color, add in your actual color on top, and that way you can also blend more into your ribbon. It comes out more vibrant, it really pops off the page, and you can see the difference, the areas that I did not add red on top of the brown versus the ones that did. I really just think it adds an extra pop